Hi, dude.
Hi, guys. Welcome to tonight's just a Chattanooga Ed special show instead of like a Fish versus Fish or Crafted. My back has been hurting me so bad, I just don't really feel like crafting at all lately. But I have a kind of a fun thing to do tonight that I thought we could all talk about. But first,
But I'm a no
I
fun
wanna
guy,
introduce
so we
these
can't have
guys.
fun.
Yeah, down in the no fun zone, that's Dr. Anthony. He's in Peru. And you would think he would be out boogieing. He's probably at a luau right now in Peru.
A luau?
Eating roasted pig and
We don't have luau's in Peru.
maybe roasted
Roasted arapima.
what are those little piglets called?
Well, they call them chanchitos here.
Conchitos.
Chanchitos.
They probably taste just like ham.
Oh no, they're really good.
I got a question for you. It may not pertain to your area, but do people eat that rodent that is big as a cow? Or not a
capybara?
The cappies. Do they eat those?
I will tell you a funny story. My resident manager, he went to the meat market and thought he was buying the little deer that they have here. Because he saw the hindquarters of a little deer, and I forgot the name of it. Sorry, I'm old. I'm gonna be 65 soon, so my mind's gone.
Well, you're a fish guy, not a deer guy.
And when they gave it to them, they took some meat from under the table and wrapped it up. Well, it ended up being capybara, and him and his whole family got sick on capybara. So
I would eat capybara.
Well, me too. You know, I love cuy, guinea pig too. I love fried guinea pig.
There's nothing that I won't eat at least once unless it's got an exoskeleton.
Well, you don't eat shrimp?
Is it a poodoo?
Well, I can pull the exoskeleton off.
Poodoo?
What's a poodoo? Something with an exoskeleton.
I don't know. It's a tiny little deer in Peru.
Well, but they don't call it that here.
Poodoo.
Have you seen those vampire deer?
I've seen pictures of them in the Southeast Asia. Yes.
Oh, they're in Asia. I was hoping they were in Peru.
No,
we
think
need
they're
to
in
sneak
Asia.
them in.
Especially for Halloween, right? Have a Halloween roast.
It'd be awesome to have those deers running around.
Hey, Whip, you gonna interrupt him saying hi to everybody?
I can, if you want me to.
Well, so let me introduce everybody. We introduced the no fun zone. It's Dr. Anthony, even though it turns out he's more fun than he looks because he eats a lot of different cool stuff. We can ask him. And then we've got Skipper, who hasn't been feeling super well. So hopefully he can make the whole show. But if he has to go, we understand.
Literally.
And then we've got Whip. Oh, crud. I just got two of them sick at once. Oh, good.
No.
And we've got super cool Whip. And I don't know if anybody's even here yet, but before we say hi to all the people watching, I've got a beef. And I have a photo.
Where's the beef, Ed?
Beef.
My next door neighbors, our new next door neighbors, are so stupid that they used to see. We've got a
stupid are they, Ed?
They are so dumb. I'm going to show you how dumb they are. Right now, all the Bradford pears are blooming. Check this out. He pruned his Bradford pears while they have the flowers on.
That's wrong.
And so he did this one you see on the right today, and he's going to do the one on the left tomorrow. I mean,
did you talk to him about it? Did you talk to him about it?
This guy won't even wave. Everybody waves at him and says hi. He's just like, he never waves. He has a pond in his front yard because we have this college that's right next to my neighborhood. So we have a lot of professors that live in my neighborhood. And the old professors that lived there were the botanists. and they had this awesome little waterfall and pond, and I used to talk to them all the time because they had goldfish in there. And I was giving the guy, I was going over there to help him, and I was told him I'd help him clean it, or any tips, for plants. And he refused everything I said, and then hired the professional guy in town to come out and tell him how to take care of it.
Well, you're not a professional. Who are you? You're just Chattanooga Ed Nooga.
I'm not going to tell you about what happened to our professional guy in town. He used to own that really weird fish store that, like, you didn't know if it was from a House of a Thousand Corpses or really cool. You walked in and it smelled like death and childhood at the same time. He had like every type of animal you could think of. It was one place I knew I could always buy lungfish. It was kind of cool there. And he got some false charges on him. The state came in and took away all of his animals. He used to be a zookeeper in the Miami Zoo. And then when the hurricane came through, it destroyed all the zoo real bad, and he left. And now he builds exhibits for different zoos across the country. Like, they come and they hire him because he's a concrete man. But he also had this giant zoo / fish pet store. And it was really fun to go to. But like I said, you didn't know if you were going to die or not. But they shut him down, and it sucks. And I really wish I could have taken all three of you guys and everybody watching to it at least once. And they were kind of jerks, though, because Bob Kaler, I'm pretty sure he videotaped it, and they made him take the video down. They complained to YouTube about it and had it taken down. And it's like, he made all these exhibits in his pet store to sell to zoos. It was very impressive, and I just don't understand why, but whatever. So, I've got these stupid neighbors that don't know when to prune their trees. You don't prune your Bradford pears when they're blooming. That's blooming stupid. But Skip, would you guys like to say hi to people? And then I'll tell everybody what we're doing tonight.
Want me to do it? I can do
Sure.
it. Let me get back to the front. We had Seville Steve in the house first. Then Linda Worth, my mother-in-law. That's not my mother-in-law. Uncle Smiley. Xana Dude. SC Cat House. Merrick. Mexicali. George. TK Tropicals. Nathan. Cheryl Smith. Larry D. Big Sexy. Denny.
Dennis?
CC. Alyssa Pay.
Oh, Alyssa is my fish keeper. She's the one who takes care
I remember
of the
her
fish.
from last week.
Hey there.
She outbids me on
come over
everything
and
at
have-
the damn auction. She bought everything I wanted at the auction. So I stopped bidding.
We got one more. Zenny. Scotty the Fish Freak. Benjamin Peters. Night Owl.
Hi, Night Owl.
We got Father Fish. Father Fish is in the
Oh my
house.
gosh, Father Fish.
All things fish.
What while Zen is here and she's a super cool mod, we have one of our fish fan people that's in a little bit of a crunch right now, financial crunch, and she's sick. She's got cancer. It's Lisa from New Jersey, and she has a GoFundMe because she hasn't been approved yet for her disability, but she can't work with her cancer. So if anybody would like to go and donate something to her what's it called? GoFundMe.
GoFundMe.
It would be, it would be a blessing. And I'll try to remember, guys, to mention it in the last 10 minutes of the show too, just in case there's different people at that time.
Yeah,
But
if you
Zen's gonna
can't
drop a
find it,
link.
I did post it on my channel. Although Zemi has it right there.
Yeah, Zen and I talked about it before the show.
Gotcha. Yeah, so Kenny E has it on his channel, and I have it on my community page, and you can find it right here.
Well, I don't think right now I don't have even a community page because I'm being punished.
Well,
Oh,
So-
that's right.
I'll have a community page again on April 22nd. But
You hope.
well, no, they said that I'll get my. Well, that's if I apply to their things, and I will have to. But I have a top 20, or no, a top 30 list from one of the local box stores of the top 30 fish that fish keepers should consider keeping. And it's 1 through 30. And we're going to just kind of go through them, and we'll kind of discuss if we think that this is a good fish for a beginner or an experienced person. And then what do you guys think? Should we try to come up with the best tank for a super experienced person with these 5 fish or a beginner? Yes, Dr. Anthony.
And where did this list come from, Ed Nuga?
It came from the not the American Depot, the Aquarium Depot.
The
fish store.
Aquarium Depot. Where now? Is that a fish store or
Box store. Yeah, box store.
I've
Oh,
heard
I
of
never
it.
heard
Yeah.
Well, they have this list, so we're going to go over it and see what you guys think.
Benjamin
I've been-
Peters likes your shirt. It's better than your previous shirt. That's all I got to say.
It's Abraham Lincoln. See, I was wearing a General Lee one, and
Don't
Oh.
mention the name.
He said General
Okay.
Lee.
Okay.
I was trying to make it sound like it was the opposite of or wait, I guess was it Johnson? Chamberlain. What was the name of the president of the Confederacy? Jefferson. Oh my
Jefferson.
gosh.
Jefferson Davis.
Jefferson. Yeah, it's Jefferson Davis. That's the
You should
first
know
name's
that.
like the last name.
He's your hero, along with the Nazi fans.
Yeah.
Oh, here
Well,
we
no,
go.
not for me.
Okay, so you have to be in our private chat to understand that one.
Yeah. I went way crazy with that one. But the first fish that they recommend beginner, well, they're recommending Aquarius to try. Okay? Is the betta fish. Or beta, however you want to say it. How do you guys pronounce it? Beta or betta?
Better is the
Better.
correct way.
You better beware.
Okay, so we're going betta is the number 1 fish. I mean, a lot of these fish are going to be pretty obvious. That probably is a good fish for a beginner.
And why?
You know, if they've
Why do you think
Well,
so?
I think because maybe the first beginner doesn't invest heavily in a huge tank, and they just invest in maybe a oval 10-gallon tank or one of those hexagon tanks that's like this big, and maybe they could put like lilies in at the top and do some type of neat plant growing out of it. And I think they're now what I don't like about bettas versus the bettas from the 80s. Bettas from the 80s seem to live forever. And now they really seem to get cancer worse than any other fish
Something.
I've ever
Yeah.
seen.
They get something.
They get so, I mean, have you noticed all the tumors they get and stuff nowadays? It makes me sad. I don't even want to get them anymore. I haven't ever seen any of the aliens with tumors, and I'd really like to get an alien betta because I just think they're really cool. But I'm just thinking a betta is probably a good first person fish.
I'll give you a story, a history.
Sure.
So I've been married almost 30 years now. I can't believe she's put up with me this long. But
Yeah.
No, I didn't know.
On our
Seems like
centerpieces for the tables at our wedding, we had bettas in a bowl, and we
All in
allowed
one bowl?
people, probably a half-gallon bowl, and that was our centerpieces for every table. And we allowed anybody who wanted them to take home. One of those bettas lived 9 years after our wedding. 9 years
Believe
is an incredible feat for a small fish like that.
Yes.
Nowadays, I used to be in my younger days, I was a IBC champion betta breeder. And some of mine, 2 years was the max I could get out of some of these bettas.
Yep, that's
That's
how
what I've
I
been
like
getting.
getting them.
With all that hybridization going on to make these new color varieties and new varieties, you've really screwed up their genetics in terms of how long they live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When
I
I
agree.
first got married, I got married in '92. One of the first things we did was, in today's world, I know the fish police will be like, "Hey, Whip, you're such an evil man," but we took a vase,
But you are.
a vase about this big, maybe 18 inches by 6 inches, and put pothos in the top
Mm-hmm.
and threw the betta in there. I got 7 years out of that thing.
That's
That
good.
thing lived almost to, I
7
think
years.
it made it to the 2007.
7 years. Oh, okay. I didn't see that thumb. Okay, you're the European type. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So now that I'm enlightened, I bought this 14-gallon cube. The jar didn't have anything. It had
Yep.
pothos. I got the heater. I got the filter. I got the substrate. I got the sand. I got the stupid little thing for them to lay in. 2 years. That's all I can do. Best I can do. And usually it's much shorter.
Yep.
I had one pretty much my whole elementary and junior high and high school years. I bet I went through 3 during those years. And I always had one in my community tank. And so once it would die, I'd have a new one for probably another 5 years. And it's just, but you basically had 3 colors. You had like a purple, a blue, and kind of that dark red maroon. Once in a while you'd see a green one, but it was rare. So they're just so weird. Sad.
But it is a good beginner fish because you don't need all the equipment that you need for most fish. You don't need a filter per se. Do your water changes. You don't. So
just don't tell that fish police because they'll come.
Yeah, so it tends to be a lot less equipment intensive per se than a lot of your tropical fish that you need all the stuff for.
Yeah, well, and I mean they can gulp air.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
they're anabantoid.
So
what was that word you used there, sir?
He said anabantoid.
Anabantoid. Wow, you're learning those nice words.
The big
Just
word.
a little bit.
Okay.
So Jeff Rowe's come into the stream. You got Jeff Rowe. You got Nancy B. You got Ames Mason.
Amazing.
Ames Mason.
It used to be Ames.
Now it's amazing.
She hasn't been around for a while.
No, I haven't seen her in a long time. You
That's
got
awesome.
Laura Zora.
Laura Zora. I like that name, Laura Zora.
New local Austin's here. New local Mike.
In LA.
Oh my gosh, I saw him dancing
in
tonight.
the house.
John Cox is here.
Hey, Don. And I want to say hi to my Uncle Bruce and the rest of the family.
Hi,
Back
Hey,
home
Bruce
in
and
Iowa. I
family,
love all you
Uncle
guys.
Bruce. I'm not sure, but
What?
the research center resident manager is supposed to be watching, but I'm not sure. Hola, Carlos, ¿cómo está? He doesn't have a YouTube
Hola,
name,
Carlos.
so he's just watching without being in chat. So
He calls him a
Hello.
nice. He says nice Spanish words to him, but not to me.
Well, and also bettas are pretty easy to feed too. So yeah, that was probably a good fish for
Yep.
them to lead off with. Now the second fish is kind of, I would say, a mediarity, a middle ground fish.
Mediocre.
Yeah, well, it's probably the first cichlid
not a
most
mediocre.
people get. Probably the first cichlid that people should consider getting is the angelfish. That is number 2.
Ooh,
What
That's a
would you
rough go.
recommend as the first cichlid? Maybe
well,
Shelly?
not an angelfish. They can become highly aggressive with each other, though. That's the problem.
Well,
You got a
They're
dominant
not
male that
exactly
beat the heck
super-
out of everybody.
Yeah.
you can get one and just put it in a community tank and be a centerpiece fish.
Yeah, but
You know, with a bunch
he's
of
really
mollies?
aggressive for
Pretty
other
big one.
fish.
Hey,
Yeah.
Geeker,
Yeah,
doing
I've had pretty good luck with them. But I mean, you're right.
plus they get big. I mean, you can't just throw them in
Yeah.
a 20-gallon. You know, you have to.
Right.
I mean, even a 29 is pushing it.
It, like, if you have a 55 filled with mollies and you don't know what to do with all your mollies, you get one of those and it's going to eat off a lot of the baby mollies. And
Well,
you know,
I would
number
say
two.
mollies are better than angelfish to have as a beginner fish.
Yeah.
well, that's
Except you
coming.
can't get the
That's-
molly
it's
disease,
coming.
and and you need salt for them to be the best. But yeah, I would say no for angels.
Okay, well, that was their number 2. Their number 3. Okay, it's probably everybody's first fish, and it shouldn't be. Is the
Guppies?
common goldfish?
Oh no.
Yeah, it's
You're
their
right,
number
though, it
3
probably
fish on the
is.
list, and it shouldn't be. My first fish was a molly. What was your first fish, Skip?
Oh,
I was 4 years old.
I
I got a
listen,
black
when
molly.
when I got my first tank, I went hog wild at Walmart. I just bought a bunch of stuff and put it in there. So one of the things I do remember was guppies, but I actually had a ball of shark, stuff like that they used to just sell, and they don't tell you much about because they didn't know nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
How about you, Whip? Do you remember your first fish?
My first fish was a goldfish that I wanted to pair,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and I
How about you,
little
Dusty?
tiny
it lived in a
cup,
bowl. Yep, it lived in a
Yep.
bowl. And then my second fish was guppies that I took home during summer break from our science class. They needed somebody to watch them over the summer,
Nice.
and I turned 3 of them into 27,000.
Yes.
Wow. That's really awesome. Oh, wait, I'm thinking the guppies you turned into 27. I was thinking you turned the goldfish into 27,000.
Oh no,
Goldfish
no.
need a pair to breed. So if
Yeah,
you turn one goldfish in 27,000, I
That's
need to investigate that
Well,
that goldfish.
magic. Hey, one more.
My elementary school used to give me 5 goldfish the last day of school every year because they knew
What?
I had a goldfish pond.
Oh, you
and I
didn't
would
swallow them? You didn't swallow them?
No, I would take them home in the milk, those milk jars you drink.
Yeah.
They would, or they're not jars, but paper cup milk jugs.
Yep.
We put one in each one, put them in my lunchbox, and bring them home and drop them in my goldfish pond in the backyard. And then I would sell them when they got big to the pet store. That was
Want me
my
to tell
thing
you
I did when I was a kid.
a bad story? Most of you will think
Sure.
it's bad. I was given a talk at a fish club, and we're talking about the best way to euthanize fish. So in the old days, one way was to put them in the refrigerator, the freezer, calm them down. And another way is to put Alka-Seltzer. So basically, they just go into oxygen deprivation and, carbon monoxide poisoning, and they would fall asleep.
Oh, I never heard that one.
Yeah, but then I said, what do you do with those? And I had 4 goldfish in a cup that I euthanized with Alka-Seltzer. I said, what do you do with them at that point? And everybody said, well, you flush them down the toilet, put them in your garden. And I said, no, you drink them. So I drank the 4 dead goldfish. It shocked everybody in the crowd. And I never did that ever again at any fish talk I've ever given.
Hey, Melvin.
Wow. Well,
professors, we think kind of differently than most people. So
science scale.
Well, back in school, they used
science
to do
scale
a big...
is here. Science scale is here.
Hey, Sam, what's
Oh my
going on?
God, I keep forgetting to call Carrie.
But yeah, this has been going on for a month now, Ed.
I know. I'm sorry, Carrie.
Goldfish are the worst beginner fish because they're dirty. They actually need a big tank. They grow pretty fast. I mean, they are, unless you have a big tank that you're going to maintain a lot, or a pond, goldfish are probably the number one fish killer of the hobby than any other fish I can think of.
Hey, Sarah.
Yeah, I agree. What? Okay, there's 2 other forms of euthanasia that I know that people do. Because I knew 3. You freeze them.
Yep.
You chop their head off quick with a big knife.
Yep.
Or I use is it rose glycerin? Is that what it's called? The I got in the other room. It just smells terrible. You
clove oil. Clove oil. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we use in science a lot of times is clove oil.
That's what I use now because it really seems humane. You drop 3 in there and they kind of go to sleep, then another 5. And we
use a chemical called MS-222, but it's really expensive. And clove oil does the same thing. It, depresses the overall physiology. It basically makes the fish go to sleep. It's what we think of as relatively painless. It's not. We have no idea. We can't ask a fish, "Are you feeling pain?" That's the problem. So it's one of the methods that's often used for science to either calm down a fish or put a fish under.
I had a big tinfoil barb that had it jumped, and I think it hit the glass bar in between, and it broke its back, and so its tail was almost straight up and down.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to put it down because that just seemed horrible. But okay,
we got distrains. Hello, we got distrains. Do I know you? We got distrains.
That's Melvin. Melvin has multiple accounts.
Okay.
Hey, Mel. And
Paulie.
This fish is definitely not. This fish is definitely not a beginner fish, but it's their number 4 fish.
Yes, Gills. Yes, Gills. The discus. Wow.
That is their number 4 fish on their list.
Wow. So, I mean, discus aren't as difficult as people think. Especially domestically bred discus don't need that soft water. But one of the problems I see with people with discus, and they kind of waste away on people, is they don't feed them enough. Discus eat lots of food constantly because their temperature is so high, their metabolism is so fast that they need to be fed a lot.
And that's another thing I see a lot is people don't keep them warm enough. They want to keep them at 79, and they really need to be like 82.
Yep.
Or a little higher.
So wait, Skip, you get any Fireball Corys? I like that name, Fireball Cory. Primarily because of Fireball, my favorite sweet drink.
What's a Fireball Cory look like?
I don't know.
They're nice.
No, Paul Salterra, I do not keep Denison barbs with my discus. No, that people who do that should be taken out and dragged by their fingernails through the streets.
Now, here is a couple fish that make a lot more sense. Number 5 is a guppy. But now here's the thing.
That was my first
Go
fish,
ahead.
even though you didn't ask me. That was my very first fish, guppies.
Oh, we forgot. We
Yeah,
forgot
he
the
forgot
doctor.
me.
It's not
Well,
just.
I thought he said it.
It's
I
not
thought he
just
said he
the
had a
oxen.
goldfish also.
Kind of like
I thought he
some
had a
people
goldfish
with their
also.
special guests that they have on their streams.
I thought you had
Go
said,
to Facebook. Yeah.
or-
Go to Facebook.
I thought you said goldfish also, but that's all right. But the bad thing about guppies at a box store is they won't give you like females to males that are the same line. Generally,
Who cares? I mean, if you're just
I
a
do.
hobbyist, but you're not a hobbyist. I mean, if you just want to keep fish as a hobby, it doesn't matter if you get matched pairs of fish. If you just want to enjoy the pure nature of the hobby, if you want to breed to sell, yeah, that's very important. But if you want to enjoy the hobby as, to enjoy the hobby in general, you don't have to have matched pairs.
Oh, I don't sell mine, but I have lots of matched pairs.
What? But
I love
you're
one.
you're not the first time hobbyist though.
Yeah. Well, and that's it. And a guppy is a great one for that because you'll get to see lots of babies.
It teaches your kids about life. You have to talk the birds and the bees to your fish to begin with early on in life.
Well, and then the next one is a molly, which was my first pick.
Dr. Anthony, you're not a special guest. You're a panelist. You can't do both.
And then number 7 is a swordtail, another live bear.
Wait. When we go back to mollies, though, mollies can be difficult because
Yeah, they can. I can't
a lot
keep
of
them.
mollies need salt. They need much harder water than a lot of people have, so that they're not really a overall. They are a good beginner fish, but you have to have the right water quality to really keep them in pristine condition that they don't just go down.
I like molly, and they, molly is probably a good one. Like for somebody who's a beginner that might have like hair algae, I've seen mollies munch hair algae like spaghetti. They just go from one end and do just chomp, 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 chomp. And if you ever get really close and look at a molly's mouth, it's creepy.
Ed, one more time.
Chomp, 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 chomp. And if you look at their mouths, it's real. Their mouths, they like have scales on their face, like at their teeth. It almost looks like where they just cut into it. It's creepy looking, but it's like their mouths are made for pulling algae. Are you looking it up, Skip?
No, I was looking at something else. Sorry.
Oh no, Skip went like
He's
this.
looking
like,
at porn.
I thought he was like, I'm gonna go check out this mouth.
No,
Fish mouth.
I was trying to remember the name of that fireball, Corey, but I ain't going to even attempt to say it.
I saw a Cory tonight on Facebook from Brazil. It's a red Cory, and I looked at the price, and the only place I could find them for sale was the Wet Spot, which is in Portland, where I'm at. And when they're in stock,
really convenient.
they want $89.99 a fish.
There, it's in chat.
Wow. Yes, that's the one.
That's the one we was talking.
Yep, that's the one I saw for $89.99.
Yeah.
Beautiful Cory with, but they're kind of drab, but so they have to be in great condition to have that red mouth through the back region. It's like a red mohawk through the body. It's really gorgeous.
Enjoy.
Yep. Thank you.
I keep hearing a woman's voice in the background of somebody's.
I'm alone in the dorms here in the Peru, so there's no woman in my room.
There's no women in here.
That is so weird.
All I have is baby cat.
Well,
He's asleep.
You know what? I think
That's
it's
so
Skipper's wife talking to
No,
him in her
because
voice.
I
You have too many fish. You have too many fish.
No, because I ain't the only one that's been hearing it. That's why I brought it up until someone else said something. Unless it's
Yes.
on somebody's phone whenever they're looking at it.
Ames, Mizzen, Peru.
I'm looking at my phone, but there's nothing on it.
I'm in Peru, yes. AIM is my initials, by the way, AIM. So I like that Ames amazing spirit.
It's so weird.
And then a swordtail, which I think is an amazing beginner fish or newer person fish.
Yeah.
Swordtails are kind of majestic.
Yep.
They have a cool name, so little boys will think they're awesome with sword in the name. And they're live bearers. I like swordtails a lot. I think they're a step up from mollies, even though mollies might be more of a useful fish. Swordtails are probably a little more fancy.
And you know, it's proven scientifically that female swordtails prefer the longest tails in their males than short tails.
That's what she said.
Wow.
So the bigger, the better. So size does matter with swordtails.
Well, and you know, with plaid or mollies, I've had some big monster female mollies actually do some wicked type damage, like as in biting the male parts off of the boys, and then they just lay at the bottom of the tank and die.
Kind of like, but have they bred yet? Maybe it's like the black widow spider story.
I think it's they just don't like having so many males in the tank. They don't like being harassed by all the males, and you tear off a couple godopodiums, and then you're not getting bothered as much.
Could be. That's why I keep my godopodium hidden all the time in crowds.
I mean, the females are almost 4 inches, and my biggest boy is about at 2.5.
So I got no reaction from Skipper or Whip, so they're not paying attention to us.
I've figured out what the sound was. I'll say it after we're done. I figured it out.
What is it?
I ain't gonna do it. I'll tell you afterwards. Because I know what you're doing, but I just figured it out. Yeah, that was the voice. But anyways, I knew that voice somewhere. Were you still talking about the swordtails? Sorry.
No, it's okay, Skip. We're beyond that. We're talking about
losing his mind. I know I hear voices
now.
I figured it out. But you're busted.
Well,
you are.
So it's Whip doing that, huh? Whip is doing something. Okay.
I knew it was Whip.
And then the last one is platies. For the live bears.
You know, platies, mollies, swordtails are all from the same group. Guppies, you know. So
Hey, Rack's here.
They all make sense. And you know, platies are kind of like small mollies. They have huge digestive systems.
So mollies, platies are swordtails without the swords.
I cannot keep mollies. I cannot keep swordtails. I cannot keep platies. They die within a month or two.
You have hard water?
I have very hard water.
Oh, they need hard waters. That's surprising.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. There's something clearly not working here. So they start off fine. They swim around the tank. They're having a good time, and then their fins all clamp up. The next thing another day.
You know what? If you didn't keep them with your Oscars, it probably would last.
No.
Hi, Jeremy from JN Aquatics. One of my not so local fish stores, but a cool fish store.
Don't know JN.
We ought to have him telling us what his best sellers are. But then we've got two. What's that?
I'd be curious to see, you know, in different regions, what is their bestseller fish?
Yeah, maybe next week we can see if Jeremy would want to come up and hang out with us, and we'll talk about
a special guest, huh? Right?
Yeah, special guest.
You're just special, dog. That's just others.
I know. I got that special personality in me. I understand. Got my Stanley Tucci glasses on again, so I can see better reading.
Danny V, J and N.
We're only at number 9, so I got to crack through this list. Number
Or
8
we can just
or
stop
number
at
9
10.
and number 10 are African cichlids and New World cichlids.
Oh, yeah, you can't put a group like that together. I mean, Africans.
I know.
There's so many different types of Africans.
And New
Yeah.
World.
I know.
I mean, gee, frick,
I know.
there's thousands.
Yeah.
I agree. And I mean, well, there's groups of South Americans and there's big differences in a lot of cichlids. But this is a
Yeah.
box store. So that's probably what they're putting on their
I mean,
tank with a
Oh, that's
whole
true.
mix
Because
of them.
every time you go,
you
well,
got
that's the New
disco
World.
chorus, which is the small checkerboard cichlid, all the way up to big. What's the big bass-like cichlid? See, Alzheimer's are kicking in because I'll be 65
From
soon.
what?
Peacock
Oscar?
bass. Peacock
Peacocks?
bass.
Yeah.
So there's so many things in between on South Americans that it's ridiculous.
So are peacock bass actually a cichlid or part of the bass
Yeah.
family?
No, there's
They're a
cichlids.
cichlid. Yeah.
And there's all
Oh, I
kinds
didn't
of
know
there's
that.
multiple different kinds.
Yeah,
of
yeah. You go to
peacock
Venezuela,
bass.
there's like 10 different species in Venezuela. They have the best looking peacock bass. Of course, can't be exported because
They're food fish,
Venezuela
right?
doesn't allow exportation. So most of their fish is smuggled through Colombia.
Jeremy from Aquarium Domain is here.
Oh, hey, Jeremy.
Yay.
And then
Got the
number
big
11,
tank.
they went with dwarf cichlids. What's a dwarf cichlid?
Oh, I have pistogramma, rams, maybe shell dwellers. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. So,
You see
I
what-
mean, they're really
You see what Jeremy said?
narrowed all
Why
their,
not just do northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere fish?
they broke it down. It looks like the 3 groups of cichlids, and then they also have discus and angelfish. So I see 5 types of discus on their list of 20.
5 types of discus or 5 types of cichlids?
I mean, cichlids.
But not a single tetra yet. Maybe I'm, coming.
Not yet.
Yeah, Steve is
Number
right there
12.
with you. Why not
Yes,
That's what
Steve.
number
Yeah, why not
12 is.
cichlids? I mean, tetras.
Well, guess what's on number 12?
Neon tetra.
Nope, arowanas.
Oh,
What?
where is
I know,
this coming
a box store
from?
that recommends arowana. So arowana is number 13. Number
You know what, Joe?
13 is tetras. They go from
Arowana-
arowanas to tetras.
Arowana are huge here in Chicago. I walked into a place that is at a
They
lot
get
of
huge
these
everywhere.
shows. They had to have had, I bet you they had to have had 100, maybe 150 arowanas throughout the store. Every tank had some in there. I'm like, what the heck?
Wow. I don't think you can get arowanas in Chattanooga. There's a place in Nashville that always has them, the Aquatic Critter. Probably one place in Knoxville. So,
Prices
yeah.
have skyrocketed. Giardini from Australia are now triple the cost as they used to be. And Giardinis don't get very big, so they're a nice.
And they
they're
look
one
the
to
most like your Asian if you without the
Yep.
color really. But body shape, they look very similar.
Yeah.
To the
Wait, Ed. Read Nancy B's comment.
I know, right?
What type of did she say crackhead?
Yeah.
Crackhead, did you get this list from, Ed? This is from Aquarium Depot.
Leave it to Nancy just
These
to cut
are-
right to the bullshit. Just
Kind of cut through the chase. Yep.
But Nancy, I just mentioned your fish store in Nashville, so that should make her happy.
Oh no.
Okay, so and then tetra is all tetras, and there's a lot of tetras. Number 14 is barbs. There are a lot of barbs. Number 15 is rabsboras. Number 16 is grommies.
Wait.
I know grommies are a good beginner fish.
All these fish should be like in the first 5 or 6, not in the bottom half.
Yeah, I
I
don't
mean,
understand why they.
some of these fish they say you should buy. I think they're trying to sell these fish.
I think that's what it is. But
Yep.
now number 17, I've never seen this on a list, is killifish.
Yeah.
So they got killifish at 17.
Okay, I thought it was me for a second.
Me too. I thought it was me.
That's
That's why
Whip
I'm
wasn't
testing
moving.
to see if it goes. Ed, you were down,
He's back.
buddy.
You're back. You're back, Ed.
There's a huge thunderstorm outside, and we had a flicker. But Danios are like one of the biggest beginner fish I think you can get.
Yeah.
That's a great fish. Danios are number 18. Now, here's a fish I wouldn't put it number 19. I'd put it lower on the list, but they're lovely. Rainbows. I just think rainbows are kind of a more high-end, or level learning level. And you have to have a larger tank for them.
You have to have a big tank because they'll kill themselves if you put them in a short tank.
I agree.
Bashing themselves
Steve.
up.
I haven't seen them either, Steve.
This one is number 20. This is 20 out of 30. And I can see if we say the right ones for the right spot. But they're saying freshwater puffers.
No.
So I don't know if they're talking pea puffers
No.
or
Even pea puffers are kind of hit or miss.
Yeah, they're a specialty fish that need very special food requirements.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really. It would be better if you had a lot of tanks with a lot of snail problems.
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily snail problems, but just snail
Okay.
growth.
I honestly think if someone would, how do I put this? That more than likely a beginner person is not going to jump into 20 different tanks at once. Okay. They're going to focus on that first tank. So if it's something that they really, really want, maybe it would be a good beginner fish because they're going to be set. Hopefully, they're going to do their research and set up for that before they go and buy the fish.
That's a 50-50.
I know.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Well, number 21 is a fish. They are, I mean, some people have no problems with them. I find them hard to keep. You got to have a lid or really low water for them, and because they'll jump out of your tank. But I also just find that they like to die. Hatchet fish. I haven't had much luck ever with hatchet fish, and they're number 21.
They do jump. I mean, that's a common occurrence in the wild when predators are around. And they're a relatively easy fish to feed, but yes, if you have a lid, they will commit suicide, ram their heads against the top.
I know,
with rainbows. Oh, I just have them jumping out.
I've had both of the hatchet fish, the silver and then the marble.
Mm-hmm.
The silver ones were, to me, a lot easier than the marble ones. I don't know why, but I don't know if it's because of the way they were bred or whatever it was, or wherever I got them from. This was years ago, but they were easy.
Yep.
But
I've had them twice.
A lot of beginner people are going to have a lid on their tank.
Most
because they're going to get a kit.
Yep.
I bought a box or a bag of them, like 6, and they jumped out the first time. So the second time I got some, and like 2 weeks later, they were all dead. They just all were at the bottom of the tank dead. And it was like, I'm never doing these stupid hatchets again. Stupid hatchets. Okay, number 22, sharks. And I'm sorry, they really should be called minnows because they are actually minnows. But man, every little boy loves a rainbow shark or a red-tailed shark. I mean, I just used to watch that rainbow shark swimming around pretending it was Jaws, and watching it go all over the place. I loved it. Absolutely loved it as a little kid. And I just had one. Oh, awesome. But, I wish they would educate people more and tell them that they're minnows and not sharks.
Well, you know why they do it is people want a shark. They don't want a minnow. So.
Yeah. A minnow sounds like the worst fish to buy, and a shark sounds like the coolest.
Yeah.
Okay. And then here's one that I've had in my life, and I hate them. And Oinky got one in the auction at the Clash 2 years ago, and I was like lifting all because she bought like 30 bags of fish, and I went, oh my God, do you know somebody gave you a eel? And I freaked out because she got a fire eel, And I hate eels. I hate them. I like ropefish. I like bichers. Eels, I hate. They just devour your fish at night when all your other fish are sleeping. They'll hide. They're jerks. I hate them. Okay, what's your guys' opinion of eels? Ooh, I like
I love them. I'm the exact opposite. I
You
also
are?
have I also have a fire eel in that tank right there. He's just a baby. He's eventually going to go in a 150, but he doesn't hurt anybody. He's the most gentle fish I've got.
Tiger tracks are neat. You fire eels, they're neat looking. But
But they get big. You don't want a fire eel if you only got a 20-gallon tank. Yes, sir.
What do you
So
think,
it's Ed.
Dr. Anthony?
It's Ed's show, so I'm asking Ed a question.
Yes, sir.
Where the hell are Corey's on this list?
Mm-hmm.
They're coming.
That, you know, Steve Sevilla
We're only at
asked,
23.
Where? Okay,
That's
this
crazy,
is a
I know.
Marines list.
Well, this number 24 is a lot like a Corey. It's a goby. I would recommend to everybody get Corys before you get gobies. I love gobies. Gobies are super fun, but Corys are wonderful. A group of 6 Corys.
I also have 12 different species of Cory in that tank right there.
That's awesome. You can't. It's a blessing to see a group of Corys swimming together. It makes, you know, when they say if you look at your fish tank, it'll make your heart pressure go down and relaxed. That's only if you have Corys, because they will actually make you happy. All the other fish will eventually stress you out. But number 25 out of 30, Corys. Corys are ranked number 25.
That should have been top 10.
Yeah, they the top 5. I mean, for sure.
And what is just like a Cory? A loach. They got loaches right next to them. So I guess they kind of put gobies, Corys, and loaches all together because they're all kind of, you know, bottom type.
Yeah, so they put the bottom dwellers at the bottom. That's garbage. Yeah,
I don't know if they're supposed to be 1 through 30. Well, no, because 30 they actually said makes okay. Well, and then number 27.
They're kind of like Whip, the bottom dwellers.
Hey, you're down here with me.
Man, I gotta go on ebook or e-page. Facebook. What's it called? Facebook. Yeah. I gotta go to Facebook and see what Whip wrote about Dr. Anthony.
I didn't write nothing about Dr. Anthony. And that's the problem.
Remind me to do that after the show. Okay. But number 27 is plecos. Man, people love plecos. I think this is probably a good spot. You know, because, I mean, plecos can be great. The best ones are really expensive. So you want some experience with fish. But just this week, I was at Petco. And I was at PetSmart. My mom needed some more glowfish for her glowfish tank. And there was a guy there. He looked like he just got off work. He was like a mechanic or something. And he grows water lilies. And he grows them in a 3-gallon tank. And so he wanted a fish to eat the algae off the 3-gallon tank walls.
Oy.
And the girl was like suggesting things, and she suggested the common pleco. And I went, whoa.
Oh.
And so I stepped in, and luckily I had my Chattanooga Ed t-shirt on, so I looked official. And I said, no, you don't want to get that. And I said, they're going to get huge. Look at them right now. You have a 3-gallon tank, and you want to put almost a 3-inch fish right now in there. And then I told them they like to suck on some wood. They're not going to suck on your glass. It's just going to be a mess. So
sucking on chili dog outside, taste freeze.
Well, I told him to get some mystery snails. If you want something in there, get a couple of mystery snails and maybe 2 or 3 because he said, well, I'd really like to have fish over snails. I said, well, maybe 2 or 3 Endlers. Because he doesn't have it heated, so an Endler's going to take a little cooler water. They're super small. They're going to be tougher. But
An auto. I mean, Siamese fighting. I mean, Siamese algae eater. True Siamese algae eater.
Well, they'll outgrow it too, though.
I know, but not as bad as the common pleco, though.
Oh, right. Well, and I asked if they had auto cats, and they said no, because I was going to suggest those. And then he says, I think I'm just still going to get the pleco because I live right next to the river.
Oh
no.
And I was like,
Nancy wants to know, did you fight her?
The girl?
Yeah.
No, she just shut up real quick. She just went and got my fish as I helped him. But what I wish I would have told him, a mono shrimp. Get a couple of mono shrimp. That would have worked.
But I mean, I don't do a whole lot of little fish, but aren't autos a little bit tough to keep unless you get them from somebody who really knows what they're doing?
They need a special diet too.
Because most die, don't they?
Huh?
Most of them die on people, especially if you buy them from like the PetSmart.
Yeah.
Well, but if they won't breed for you for sure, because they need, they go out to the estuaries as young. So.
But like PetSmart and Petco, they don't have any algae in their tanks whatsoever, so they normally are starved. And you look at their little bellies, and it looks like a little white pea right in the middle of their belly. Yeah. And if the pea is going in, it's basically a death sentence because they're going to die. They're emaciated. So you go to somebody place like J&N Aquatics, a mom and pop pet store where they have real live algae, where it's healthy tanks. And if that little pea is bulged out, they'll be fine. That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm getting at.
J&N, go ahead.
If that's what I was getting at about the diet, though, because it happened to me. They were pleasantly plump. They didn't have the sunken belly, and I just started getting into dealing with them, and I didn't have enough stuff for them to eat. So you got to put special food in there for them to graze on and stuff all the time because they're constantly moving. They're constantly looking for food.
When my dad cleans his tanks really good or cleans all the glass real good, I throw a cucumber in there. Okay. No luck on that.
Usually about 4 a.m. is when the little pea happens with me.
Oh, Jesus. You're talking about feeding them peas.
I'm sorry. I couldn't resist. I'm sorry, everybody.
You're about right, though. About 3 o'clock in the morning. That is
I'll
about
go
accurate.
to the no fun zone as opposed to these are actually the mountains that I see 10 minutes from my house as I'm flying into Portland.
Nice.
On my last trip in January, that's what it looked like.
Captain
so
McReynolds.
In case people wanted to know. So one of them is Mount St. Helens. One is, I don't know, the other mountains around us. I have no idea. So.
That's awesome. Well, another thing is, like, if you go to Petco, they're going to be $3, and you're going to say that's so much cheaper than going to J&N, which might sell them for $5 or $6.
Yep.
Get them from J&N because otherwise they're just going to all die. If everybody would just stop buying them from the box stores, they'd stop selling them.
Hey,
and that's what
fish are we talking about now?
Auto cats, but auto cats aren't on this list.
Okay.
We were talking about plecos. And
I know we were talking about plecos. Yeah.
Yeah, but you brought up the autos because
I know I did. I know I'm the one who derailed it.
Well, I thought he did as one of the alternatives to the common.
I mentioned it, but
and then number 28 is all other catfish, and that's like red-tailed catfish, catfish, all of your Synodontis was on that list that they had. They had, what else did they have on there? Gulper catfish. All those catfish are grouped in at 28. And I'm sorry, there's a big difference between Synodontis and Gulper catfish.
Yeah, a lot big difference.
Yeah, huge difference.
I highly
Literally
recommend nobody get a gulper catfish.
huge. Well, you
Okay,
can get one.
number
You just keep it
29.
alone
Yeah, I don't know.
because they don't get
Okay.
big. Gulpers only get about that big, right?
But they got a mouth
Yeah,
the
but you
same
still
size.
got-
Yeah, but their mouth is about like that big.
And they'll literally eat a fish that big. If they're this
Yeah.
big.
That's why you just have to keep them open. I have no problem as a single fish. I kind of like single fish tanks. I have a
I hate
150 right there, and all it's got in is a Jaguar sickle.
Hey, George. Well, and then this is number 29. It's the last actual fish on the list is a stingray.
Oh my God.
Harry!
And I'm thinking maybe they sell stingrays because they sell big aquariums. Maybe they sell 800-gallon aquariums. Because it would be a bummer if you buy a pup, like a little baby guy this big, and then it gets to this big.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
the only, footprint I have that big is my 200-gallon. And still, it would only be able to just barely turn around
That's not big
in my
enough.
200.
Although
So
I talked to Kevin from Predatory Fins at Aquashella. I kind of pulled him to the side and was just talking to him for, 15, 20 minutes. And he did say that stingrays are getting smaller because they're being bred. The small ones are being bred to the small ones, and
they should
not,
start breeding dwarf ones.
yeah, there's no real true dwarf, I don't believe, right? I mean, they all
I
get
don't think so.
eventually get. Currently, they all get fairly large, but like even the teacup, isn't there one called the teacup? The teacup still gets 24 inches across. So.
The first time I ever saw them, they were pups that were this big, and I wanted one so bad, but it was just a baby. It's like, yeah, I'm not doing that. But okay, and then the last fish on the list, and we've been over an hour. So, and the last fish isn't a fish at all; it's shrimp. And they recommend people to get shrimp. And I was like, if you put shrimp on the list, you got to put snails.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just put invertebrates.
Yeah,
I wouldn't keep a shrimp with your tank. That's how much I dislike shrimp.
Oh, gosh.
I like
This tank. Well, we'll talk about the tanks later. I was going to talk about my tank behind me, but I'll talk about that tank in our next show on Whip's World. Is it Whip or is it Skip going?
Whip.
Yeah,
It's Whip going. Next.
Wait, you've already hijacked his show, huh?
I have.
I asked first.
Hey, John Cox.
I never. I'm not going to ever go if he's going to be able to go.
Oh, first, let's
No,
drop.
I meant Ed has already hijacked your show.
Oh.
Well, I wanted to talk a little bit about. I thought it would be a little interesting about something I'm doing, but let me also say about Lisa from New Jersey. For anybody that's new here, Lisa's got cancer, and it really sucks bad. She can't work right now because she's so sick, but it takes a while to get on Social Security disability. So there's a GoFundMe for Lisa right now to help her out, maybe help her buy some groceries or keep the electric on. Man, it sucks when you get sick. So if anybody has an extra $10, it would go a long way. If you want to send it over to Lisa, that'd be wonderful. And we're going to go over to Whip. And Skip, thank you for coming on tonight. You're always awesome. And Whip, thank you. And Dr. Anthony, thank you. You guys all rock.
No problem.
Was Dr.
Have
Anthony
a good
here
night,
today?
everybody.
Yep.
Have a good sleep.
And there's Larry D. Larry D., before we do anything, for the last 48 hours, I've been almost staying awake nonstop because
I couldn't understand why. If you knew what time that auction was going on.
And I got it. I was paranoid.
But you knew what time it was supposed to be on. Why'd you stay up for 48 hours?
I didn't want to sleep in. And it's so easy to figure out daylight savings time when you're 12 hours apart. because it was on Pacific time instead of my time. So it's very confusing. But I got the Vincent Price G.I. Joe. And I was so worried it was going to sell out today before I could get it. And I got it at 10:02. I flipped out, though, because I've been checking it nonstop, the website, and I wasn't logged in. And it took me 2 minutes to log in. And then I got it. And I was like, oh, my God, if it sells out in 2 minutes. But, yeah. So, Larry D., I got my Vincent Price. Okay, guys.
Before you go, I got a text from Mr. Garcia Aquatics here. He says, tell Ed I'll give him some meals.
Give me what?
Some eels.
Yeah.
You got some
You
eels
don't have
coming your
to.
way, buddy.
You honestly, you don't have to give me any eels.
We have
I don't want any eels.
3-foot Symbranchus eel here at the research center. I can give you one of them because we only have one of them in the aquarium because 2 won't fit in the tank.
Does this look like a guy that likes eels?
Yeah, you're kind of be an eely kind of guy.
Not at all. Okay, guys. Let's all go over to Whip. I'm 6 minutes over. I'm so sorry, Whip.
Good night, Skipper.
We'll
Good night, Whip.
Since
I didn't get a code, so I'm going to bed.
You both got codes.
No, you never sent me a code, Whip. I'm sorry.
We're going to argue about this on the
backside. You are full of crap.